Hail, hail, welcome to the Homebhoys Led podcast. It is Friday, the 10th of October. I'm, of course, Joe McKenna. We are back, and it is a Friday night. And as usual, Friday nights always come with a wee bit of fun. So tonight, we've got a start of the show is a wee bit different, but I'm going to introduce the usual cavalry, which is the man in Wishaw, Jason Higgins. You good, buddy?
Aye, good, mate.
And tonight,
Celtic,
well, you know, it's rough terrain. That's what I said to somebody the other day. It's rough terrain currently. It's rough terrain. Look at it that way. Tonight's show is called Michael Nicholson Shrugged His Shoulders. So, in light of, to give a bit of context, obviously, for anybody who doesn't know about this, which I imagine everybody who knows about this, the meeting that Celtic held on Monday, 6th of October, with the Celtic Fans Collective and other representatives of Celtic fan groups. The minutes came out a few days ago. This meeting was in response to the statement, which we've said on the show before. That statement that came out was essentially a wee bit of a pat in the head and just bordering on patronising. So a lot of people have read the minutes. We've all kind of read the minutes, but questions, I suppose, still linger, and everybody still kind of wants to know exactly what it was like, what happened, and how does this move forward in terms of, how antagonized the fans are by the treatment of the club. So we're joined tonight by Ross and Michael from the Celtic Fans Collective, who were at the meeting on Monday. Ross, you there, pal?
I'm here, mate. Aye, how you doing?
Yeah, all good, mate. You good?
Aye, all right.
Yes, and we're joined by Michael. Michael, you there, pal?
Yes, how are we, guys?
All good. So we want to thank you for coming on for a start. Thanks very much. I know we had a chat before the show, before we went live, about a few things. And myself and Jason, I suppose, is kind of going to pose questions to you, because the overall kind of point of what we're trying to do here is get a sense of what it was like for you and what you took from it and what the collective took from it, and how that's going to influence how things go forward in terms of, engagement with the club and, resolving the issues that are very apparent. So we kind of, to get into the conversation, I kind of wanted to ask you, is like, having read through the minutes, like I'm sure all of us have been to meetings where minutes were taken, and minutes can tell you what happened at the meeting and what was said and the direction of the conversation, but they can never really convey what the tone was like in terms of, the parties at the actual meeting. And like I just said a few minutes ago, it's like that statement that was released towards, I suppose, the collective overall was very much belittling, I suppose, is a way I would like to put it. And I want to know that for you to sort of crack this egg in terms of conversation of what happened in that meeting, going in, I suppose personally, what was the tone that you felt was being set when you walked into that meeting in terms of what you were to try and achieve or try and discuss?
Do you want to go, Mike, or do you want me?
Go ahead.
On you go, Ross.
Right, it was just, it's a hard one, mate, because as I say, I've been in meetings with the club before for various things, right, and it's today with obviously the boys and the ultra side there, and so I never expected much. I'm not going to lie. See, when he says about they wanted us to come in and meet, I didn't expect much, but there was still a wee part of me thinking as the days went on, nah, I can't see why they would do this without. They must be going to concede something. They must be going to give something to try and appease the support or something. I don't know. I think probably naively I was thinking that. So we met on the night. A few of us met in the CSA before we went up. We had a quick talk, obviously, about kind of tactics almost. Says, right, you're going to do the talking for the most part and everything else. Just a reminder everybody to keep it polite, keep it civil. Didn't want him taking in there moon howling and essentially giving us a bad name and losing credibility before it even started. So we got up in the parkade and we were up the stairs, and I said it was a bit weird. The only way I can describe it was like, see when you go into a wedding and the fucking groom's on the door, the chapel, and they're all standing to shake your hand on the way in. That's what it was like with Michael Nicholson and everybody else. They're all lined up, so it kind of took me by surprise. We were in and we sat down at the table. There was a wee bit of talk with them before we were in, because we didn't want it to be like a forum type situation where they're all lined up at the top table and we're all sitting like dafties in the audience. Do you know what I mean? Having to put our hands up to ask something. So it was put to them that we wanted it to be an actual proper discussion and it had to be a proper table where we was all sitting around it. So that, in fairness to them, that was all set up. Then we all sat down and it was just a bad fucking small talk while waiting on other people arriving and all that stuff. The meeting started and...
So see before that, Ross, but I take it there was an open agenda, so there was no like pre-arranged questions, etc.
Aye and no, mate. So there was the assumption that we were going to go through the questions that we'd put in the open letter.
To them,
you know what I mean? That was the general structure and the general guide to it. But obviously, it could go in any direction. Because they were that open-ended. You know what I mean? That they kind of covered everything. So it could have went everywhere. Do you know what I mean? But that was the general agreement. We'd go through that. We'd agreed to do joint minutes, which is that was a delay in the minutes coming out because there was a bit of back and forth for the past few days. So believe it or not, these minutes, as bad as they are probably the best version the club could come up with to make themselves look good. Which is fucking
jeez.
I know. So you all get in there and you're sitting around the table, right? So obviously we're reading the minutes. Did Michael Nicholson, did he kind of take the lead and then...
Aye, mate. He kind of just done the usual, just the formalities in it. Like, thank you for attending. Blah 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 blah. When all those concerns, everything else, we want to keep it civil. Just pretty much the same stuff we says to each other on the CSA. They were in the same mindset. I think they were kind of worried we were going to come in there and break the door down and fucking start wrecking the place. Do you know what I mean? So I think they were a wee bit worried, especially with that many people there, because we'd asked for extra bodies to go there on behalf of the collective. We didn't want it to be the same people going in and talking to them, because to me anyway, and to a few other people in the collective, it was important that there was new people in there just to see it. We've seen all this before, we've seen the way they behave, and people can take it face value if they want, but it was just important to expose other people to that so they know what they're dealing with, you know what I mean, and so it's more believable. So I went in, sat down, done all the formalities and stuff, and then Paul was our kind of nominated spokesman. And just, do you know what he's like, man? He's fucking excellent when he gets going, isn't he?
Brilliant, really good. So see before you go there, right? So see, just for the listeners, obviously, I take it everybody's read the meetings, read the minutes, but so for our side, for the Celtic side, you had Michael Nicholson, Chris Mackay, the CFO, John Paul Taylor, everybody knows him, Mark Hargreaves, head of safety and security, Kevin McQuillan, head of commercial, and George Campbell, head of legal. So there was nobody for the fitness side.
No, mate, that was it.
Yeah. And then for like our side, basically, you'd 2 reps for the affiliation, you'd 2 reps for the Association of Irish Celtic Supporters Clubs, you'd a couple of reps for Celtic Disabled Supporters, you had 2 for the CSA, you had 1 for the Celtic Trust, and you had 2 for the North of Ireland Supporters Clubs.
Aye.
And then for the Fans Collective, there was 10 of yous.
Aye, that's it, mate.
Yeah.
Aye.
Yeah, right, okay.
That's it. So as I say, obviously it looks a lot of people, so I wasn't really worried about it turning into a rabble, to be honest, especially if we say that I knew we were going to meet before it, and I knew we were going to have the discussion who was going to be doing most of the talking and all that stuff, so that there wasn't really a concern for my part that it was going to be a rabble. I know there was a few concerns within all people in the collective, and they were kind of worried about the numbers, but there was nothing to worry about in the end. You know what I mean? It was all very professional, to be honest with you. For Celtic's side, I know what folk are saying about the nobody for the football side, but that wasn't. Again, that was something that didn't really concern me. We weren't going in there to talk about to chin people on tactics or I mean, it's no your place or individual transfers. That was never the thing. It was about the overall strategy, and that's what we were wanting to kind of get her off.
I would agree with you. I don't think that's a big deal.
No, mate, not for me. Also, what would have happened on that is we'd have got fucking schooled on
you'd get sidetracked and things you're never going to have any opinion on, because we don't have anything to do with picking the players and
it's not our place, you know what I mean, to do that. And I think it's important to make that distinction. That's not what I want to do here. We don't want to influence transfers, don't want to influence who's playing well, do you know what I mean? That's exactly. This is the overall thing, and the engagement with supporters obviously first and foremost, the overall strategy of the club.
100%, I would agree there.
Can I ask though, Ross, like, despite what some of the minutes say in terms of like the club takes on board and the club acknowledges, do you feel like any of your like the points or questions kind of landed?
Nah, absolutely not, mate. But and again, this wasn't new to me, right? As I say, we've been in meetings with him before, so I literally says, I can't remember who it was. I says to somebody going in, watch the way he sits here, talk about Michael Nicholson, watch the way his face goes, what he'll say, these few phrases, and it was always the same. Listen, we'll take that on board and get back to you, and we'll have a think about that and all that shit. And that was the same theme throughout the meeting. Doesn't matter what it was, they were very guarded. I've no doubt he's a very good lawyer. See, he doesn't commit to nothing. He doesn't. Well, except for the shrugging the shoulders thing, obviously, right? He's made a mess of that. But apart from everything else, mate, he's very, very careful. He doesn't give you anything. Do you know what I mean? Which is that was against the whole spirit of what we were going in for. We were going in there hoping to see even a promise or some sort of tangible change. And do you know what I mean? Something to go away and go, right, fair enough, they're taking that on board.
He sounds like he's very good at handing people off with the possibility and a hope of a follow-up.
Aye, that's it, mate. Yeah. And see, the thing is, in fairness to them, they will follow it up, but then you go in the next time and they'll go, we've not got around to it yet, but can we? And then they'll just kick the can down the road.
It's complete long finger tactics.
That's it, mate.
And with reading the minutes as well, they basically took no culpability on anything apart from basically communication with the fans. Everything else, they basically said that, I mean, it was fucking North Korean type stuff, you know, like we've qualified for Europe, European group stages 19 out of the last 20 years. Well, you couldn't fucking no qualify, you know, that was with draft. I mean, one year we played in 3 fucking competitions because we get knocked out the first 2.
See by his definition, playing in Europe's a success. That just means, right, so if we fail to qualify for the Champions League, if we have a disaster in the Champions League, that's still deemed as a success. How the fuck is that? You're losing the fuck. And I don't want to get into the money side of it because I hate that. I hate when people go, oh, we're losing this money, losing that money. I'm in football to see trophies and see us winning games, right? But it's surely, for a business sense, if you're getting fucking knocked out there, you're doing £40 million. How the fuck in any stretch of imagination can that be deemed a success?
And that's where it becomes confusing for people as well. I mean, and that's where people get frustrated, I think, as well, Ross, is because, like, you go back last season and you're a bee's dick away from putting Bayern Munich in the extra time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
even last season, but
the fairness margin beyond that is not unachievable if you fucking lean into it. You know what I mean? Yeah. But as far as they're concerned, it seems like, well, you know what? Are you not entertained?
No. Well, see, where I come from on it all, mate, right? And it's not even. Again, you don't want to sound spoiled. You don't want to think. We can all take Celtic getting beat, right? But what really fucking sticks in my craw is we've never in my whole lifetime even got near what the potential of Celtic could be, and that's in every department, like the stands, the pitch, the stadium. Nothing is reaching its potential. Absolutely nothing, and there doesn't seem to be any plan to ever even try to get there. Do you know what I mean? That's what it's all about, potential for me. Which,
yeah, it's that attitude of, well, they'll still come.
Aye, it's the attitude that this is it for us. That's to me, that shouldn't be the case. There's still so much we can do at Celtic, and you see the money that comes in every year. If you look at the accounts, Celtic's fucking massive. Do you know what I mean? Even in this backwater that we play in. And it's so much untapped potential that it's almost, I don't even think they're deliberately doing it. I just think they're incapable of tapping into it, and they're incapable of imagining what we could be. Do you know what I mean?
Ross, I think that's where a lot of the frustration for fans comes from, the fact that there's so much, we see the potential in pretty much all facets of the club, but anytime we start to see any sort of improvement or progress, the board seem to slam the brakes on, and we go back to square one and we restart that cycle. It's as if they reach the ceiling of their cycle, and then once we get so far or we show a wee bit of progress, they hit the brakes, and then we just repeat that cycle again.
I know, that's it, mate. That's why I didn't get too excited last season. I could see this happening. See, when the Bayern Munich game and stuff like that, everybody's got to build on this. I don't know if I'm just overly cynical, but obviously proven to be right. I just didn't see us ever building on it, and that's just the way it's been for years, isn't it?
It's proving that now.
I've had a total mind shift for about the past 2-3 years. Scott and Liam on the show were always in the mindset of European football, right? Mm-hmm. And I had kind of made my peace with it, like, we're never going to the end, but as long as we get 10 in a row and shit like that. And when I think back, how fucking stupid is that? See, like 10 in a row, nobody outside Scotland gives a flying fuck about 10 in a row. And what does it get you, apart from bragging rights? And a fucking city there, we're fed up bragging because it's just a joke now. And when I think back, I'm 53. I went to my first game when I was 4. So Celtic got to the semis of the European Cup in 72. I was 1 year old, can't remember it. So in my full life following Celtic, home and away, everywhere, we've not had any European success whatsoever. We had 1 year in 2003, which gave us a great year. And that was on the back of getting knocked out the Champions League.
Aye.
And you say to yourself, it's criminal. It's absolutely criminal.
I know, and you're in danger of coming. I hate having these conversations because you're in danger of coming across spoiled when you're not. That's not what you're meaning. It's like we've not even tried to do it. That's my thing. See if we tried and we gave ourselves the best chance of doing everything, and it didn't work out, fine. That's sound with me. We tried. That's football. But we don't try. That's it. So somebody mentioned at this meeting the other night, just to get back onto it, well, we seem happy to be Rangers +1, which to me is the best description of what you can describe Celtic as the past decade, probably.
Aye.
I don't think anybody would disagree with that comment either, even in the wider fan base.
But see, so getting back to the board, right, I think that hits the nail on the head because they must have the easiest job in world football because they've got a club that's got 60,000 every home game. Well, it did have up until the last few weeks. 60,000 every home game, guaranteed sellouts. You're getting domestic success in a league of absolute shit. And most people are content with that.
Well, again, it was put to them at the meeting the other night that the actual words were, it might have been Gemo that said it was a licence to play in Europe. Playing in Scotland's a licence to play in Europe. And it is.
So this 19 out of 20 is no achievement whatsoever because our budget is probably, when that lot were in the lower leagues, our budget would have been 5 times. Well, it would have been probably been 5 times every other team in the league put together.
You can take a freak season in a row, mate. That's it. See, even getting into budgets and stuff like that, right? Sometimes it's just not going to work. Sometimes football happens, and you're going to have a shocker, right? But it's that we're not talking about freak seasons here. We're talking about patterns. So year after year after year, it's the same pish. Do you know what I mean? So there's obviously something missing there. There's a missing link. There's something broke that we can all see. Everybody else knows there's something broke, but obviously the board think everything's rosy and it's just about communication for their side. That's what they think.
See on that comment around the 19 seasons out of the last 20 or whatever it was they says, they seem to think making there as the goal. I think they use the word competing, and there's a difference between competing in Europe and playing. We have been playing in Europe for 19 seasons. I wouldn't say we've been competing for those 19 seasons. And that's the annoying point as well. Whereas what we believe to be the potential and the success of something, they're seeing it as way diluted compared to the fan base.
So see when you were at the meeting, Michael, right, and then the point was brought up about we want to nurture Champions League quality players through our youth academies, right? And there was obviously questions asked, but when you say to yourself, Champions League quality through our youth academy, the only 3 that's Champions League quality is Jamesy Forrest, Callum McGregor and Kieran Tierney. And that's 15 years ago. There's been not one player that's come through.
What they done, Jason, the other night was they just kept repeating this same stuff, right? They kept saying this is what the aim is, this is what the aim is. Now, my aim's to win the fucking lottery. Do you know what I mean? See, unless I buy a ticket for it, I'm not going to win it.
No, but he got thrust into that job when they punted Dom Mackay. Dom Mackay was quite open to us. You know, yeah. I was at a meeting with him, and he seemed to yourself, this guy's got a wee bit about him.
I never met the guy, but it just obviously he was in and out the door, wasn't he? So that's
because obviously they say, "Oh, wait a minute, this guy might move the Apple cart. We need fucking," because they mentioned it in their minutes as well, talking about the longevity of non-executive directors and the board, etc. And
that was another thing. When they went in,
stability, they say, we believe it's better for stability, and then they use some.
You know, Jason, they were saying this stuff, right? And as I say to you, it was almost like a script. It's almost like this is we don't stray for the party line here, right? But you got the impression they were saying it and they didn't believe it. They're no stupid. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't think they actually believed that some of the shit they were saying. Like that thing about the non-executive directors. They knew that was a bullshit point. They said it and they moved on for it very quickly. Do you know what I mean? But it was almost like they had to say it because they had to get their defence in. There was just nothing genuine coming out of that meeting. That's what it was. There was no genuine behaviour, no genuine.
Did you get the feeling they turned up with talking points and going, right, hit these points and move on?
Aye, it was a box ticking exercise. And I know what people were saying about they maybe called it to stop the silences or the previous two games, but I think that's giving them a lot of credit. I genuinely, and this is again, I may be putting this just into my own experience for them. That's giving them a lot of credit. I don't think they've got the foresight to think a week ahead like that.
I think they did it, Ross, to say they did it.
I think they were told to do it. I don't think that was their choice. I think probably Desmond or something has went fucking sort this out, and that was their attempt at doing it.
Me personally, I think it's the 20,000 empty seats in the Europa League games that made them do it. See when they've looked at the forecast, how many seats they've sold. I mean, that Europa League
probably,
game,
probably, but it says a lot that they've managed to make it worse. And no, you keep obviously we're talking about the tone of the thing, right? I think we knew within 5-10 minutes. This has gone nowhere, and I think Paul started to get. You could sense his frustration, and I'm pretty sure he says it pretty early on in the meeting that this doesn't feel there's any point in this turning up here. There was at times throughout the meeting, but the two Pauls had actually begged them, saying, "Geez, something here. You need to give something. Is this really the message you want coming out of this meeting? What you are saying now?" And they didn't budge at all. It was just. Yep. It was like pulling fucking body at a stone, to be honest with you. And I generally, as I say, I don't know the point of the meeting. I think it's still. I think it's gaining them a lot of credit to say that it was to stop these silences. I don't think that would even be on their mind. I think they've probably been told. And you've probably got a point there, Jason. To be honest, it's maybe been something to do with the Europa League tickets or whatever. Do you know what I mean? And when you just better get them in.
One of the points that Paul made quite early doors as well, I think it was Michael Nicholson referred to having further meetings. Sorry, it was Chris Mackay referred to having further meetings. And this was really, really early on. And I think we were on agreement that there was no value in the meeting that was taking place. So there would definitely...
Aye, they were wanting this, right? So when we're in, the first 5-10 minutes again, and Chris Mackay had said about having other meetings. Well, let's get this one out of the way first. Do you know what I mean? And that kind of goes back to what I said earlier on about them constantly kicking the can down the road. It was we'll have a think about this and we'll get back to you on that. And then I can guarantee the next time we go in, they would have went, we've not quite got into that yet. It's almost like to get you in the door to look like they're engaging with you and look like they're doing something without actually doing it. And this is a pattern, mate. As I say, it's every meeting we have ever been in with them, it's been the exact same, and it's frustrating after a while. But then you become very, very cynical very quickly.
100%. So tell me something. I'm interested, right? So obviously, me personally, I would rather it was just the fans collective representatives for them that were there, right? So obviously there was the association, the affiliation, you know, and a couple of Irish groups and the disabled, right? Was in the Celtic Trust. Was there any? Were you a united front, or were they some of the people outside the collective kind of
the CSA and the affiliation and the Irish Association stuff? They all signed up to the collective. So there is links there. Do you know what I mean?
So three of them, but the North Ireland Supporters Club, didn't it? So was there any difference of opinion between you and them towards?
I'll be honest, mate. I expected it. I expected them to be a bit of a nuisance, to be honest, and kind of back the board up. But having looked at them at the meeting, I think even they were looking at Michael Nicholson and Chris Mackay, thinking, "What the fuck are you saying here?" And I don't think they could.
I think in principle they wanted some answers to the questions as well. Just for only one of them spoke, and he was asking a couple of questions around signings and stuff like that as well. It wasn't as hard line as the collective or other people around the table, but I'm the same as Ross. I expected them to be more sided with the board, just with previous.
But they couldn't. I think it's just because of they were coming out with. I think the two guys almost, well, maybe one of them almost seen his role as some sort of go between us and the board, some sort of buffer. That's just my personal opinion, but just for a couple of things he says in it, he was almost kind of like trying to translate what we said, like it wasn't clear enough at times. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But overall, there wasn't. There wasn't that animosity, or wasn't that chaos that I expected, and I was glad it wasn't, mate. As I say, I think everybody that went into the meeting, and that's CSA affiliation, us, even the board, to be honest, right. As much as I'm saying to them, they weren't negotiating. There wasn't any raised voices. It was very, very professional, is the only way I can describe it. Apart from obviously the fucking shrugging the shoulders type thing, know what I mean? But the way everybody behaved, there wasn't any moonhowling for any side. Know what I mean?
Yeah, cool. And see how did people react when they came out with that one about the difficulty in signing players because of different countries' tax laws?
Well, I don't know if you know what I am in the minutes, but the first thing I says to them, I asked, like, will be the only club that signs players for Belgium and Holland?
So that's why I asked.
But it was almost with disbelief, mate. But by that point, we kind of, I got the impression we kind of conceded this was going nowhere anyway. So it was just a case of letting them talk and kind of give them rope. Almost, you know what I mean? Aye. But again, this is all stuff that's been repeated. I'm pretty sure the same sort of stuff was put out at the fans forum before when we went to a couple of them, and it's just it was very much the part of the line, mate. That stuff. So again, it wasn't surprising to me. It's frustrating as it is to hear at the time and hear it repeatedly. It's not surprising. So I think a few other boys in the room were sitting there. People were almost speechless at certain points rather than angry. It was a case of going, are they really saying this? Am I hearing this right? That's the impression I got. Yeah,
there was more than one occasion I was just sitting there thinking to myself, what is actually going on here? Like, they were trying to sidetrack every question with the party line answers, and then trying to move on quickly to the next one. Like the one with the tax, Ross made the point straight away. Like, are we the only people trying to buy? How has this not been a problem previously? Like, they were given difficult answers to questions that they had for, I don't know, what was it, 4 weeks or something they had the questions for, and still couldn't answer any of them.
It was the whole thing was a box ticking exercise, and at various points throughout the night you could see that, and people, but the spokesman for the collective, Paul, he was he was making your feelings here known pretty clearly, to be honest with you, at various points, saying so that's another one that we can't get known. It's another one you need to get back to us with. Do you know what I mean? So that was the general theme throughout the night.
Aye.
Wow. All I'm kind of really hearing overall from your experience here is that they got together and went, turn up and act like you're taking these people seriously.
I think what it is, Joe, I think they're no used to being put under that level of scrutiny, right? Because they were put under scrutiny, they were asked difficult questions, they would answer, and we would go back to them with more questions, and they were put in the spot, right? They're no used to that. I think they were potentially thinking they were going to show up here, and it was going to be like the usual meetings they have with whoever, whether it be like your normal supporters associations and stuff. I think that's what they were expecting. And it was very different.
My question is, though, Ross overall, does it matter to them?
No, well, personally, I don't think it does. I think that meeting kind of summed up for me the disdain that they have for the normal supporter. I think it would have been a very different tone, a very different atmosphere if we were a bunch of shareholders sitting in there. You know what I mean? But I think that's a good way to put it, Joe. They don't care. No, I felt like they were there because they had to be there.
Yeah.
But the questions that Aberdeen gave to the club, right, as you say, Michael, that for 4 or 5 weeks to digest them and come up with answers. I mean, if they were worth any salt, they would have said, right, before we start the meeting, we will read through your questions and give you your answers.
Jason, I think you might be onto something. I think they might have read through the questions 20 minutes before it, gone with the way they answered them.
but this is how you can tell straight away that they gave you no credence whatsoever getting into that meeting. No. Because the bottom line is we want answers to those questions, right? Mm-hmm. They've had weeks to come up with answers. And maybe
sorry to interrupt you, but I'm not naive enough to expect them to give full detail.
No, but
and they weren't even designed that way, but it was give something. Do you know what I mean?
No, but Ross, see, the thing is, say out the questions, say 50% of the answers, we didn't like the answer, but at least they'd fucking read through it and answered it. You know, they could tell you the exact opposite of what you wanted to hear. But at the end of the day, you need to take it and say, well, that's the way they're looking at things. They're going down that road. We don't agree with it, but at least you fucking answered it. But see, to come to the meeting with no answers.
Aye. Well, there's more things through it that they jumped out to me like they clearly don't have a clue what they're talking about, right? So there was, sorry, I'm just going through the minutes myself here. There was a bit later on, and they were talking about
I would like to say to you, when you're finding it, right, you can answer this, Michael. What did they say when they talk about how do you sanction a transfer? And then it says it goes to the board members, and as long as we agree with the fee, everybody's then sent an email.
Yeah, so
a fucking email.
An email. I found that funny myself. She's an email.
Yeah. So there was a few questions asked off the back of that. We asked them to clear up first of all what the process was, and they says everybody receives an email. So what we're saying is that the Neds as well as the board, beyond a certain threshold, they agreed that it needs more involvement. They didn't disclose who had to be involved at whatever threshold. Asked them to clear up what the threshold was. No, like we can't disclose that. So there was still grey areas there about how that process worked. But the fact that I think somebody said this, after the meeting, you can see why they're taking ages to get deals done if they're sending emails to people at various points through the day.
We'll pick a fucking phone up.
It was almost like
a Zoom call.
The answer to that question was kind of like that statement they put it. It was almost like you don't have a clue what you're talking about. We deal with this. We know more than you. That was almost the way the question was answered, the exact same tone.
It's exactly. We've got a system in place, but it's very slow. You just wouldn't understand. Fucking unbelievable, man.
But see, it's like they're a closed shop, right? And they answer only to their own cabal. And it's like been like this for years and years. It was like that with the old board. It's like this with the new board. The only difference is they've got money now.
See, legally, right? We're no daft. Legally, they're answerable to shareholders, right? That is what it is. But there also needs to be a recognition. This is a football club. It's no fucking Tesco, right? So it's like it or no, we're the people that put in the most amount of money every year. See, if you look at the accounts, look at the merchandise sales, look at the ticket sales, right? We're the biggest stakeholder in Celtic. Might not be the biggest shareholder, but the biggest stakeholder, and that means something. That needs to be respected, and that they just don't respect that at all. And it's it's up to us to make them respect that. I think that's where we are now.
Yeah,
I suppose like the double-edged sword there, I suppose that is apparent now is that if you strangle them in the pocket, like it has been done in the Europa League, you're also doing that to the thing you love, the team.
Nah, that's it. Well, it's a debate. That's on where it goes for here.
It's poison and pain to a certain degree. You know what I mean?
On where it goes for here. That was the whole point of the collective. The collective is a genuine collective. It's no like the ultra groups under a different name or the CSA under a different name. It's a genuine cooperative. You know what I mean? That's how we were trying to work it. But the ultra groups in particular, we've tried to take a back seat. Because I think it's important for us not to be front and centre in our dispute with the board. This has to be across the support, and every demographic has to be like represented here. You know what I mean? But where it goes for here in terms of boycotts or whatever our actions, that needs to be decided by everybody. You know what I mean? That's why the emails have been going out to every signatory that signed the open letter, and that's why there'll be a meeting next week in Graces that everybody's invited to again. Everybody needs to have their say in this, and then that's where actions will come for. They'll come for the kind of the ground up rather than people getting told this is what we're doing. That's the only way they're going to succeed.
We had a conversation on this show a number of weeks ago, Ross, right? About the kind of it was more about like, you know, if you're a corporate mindset, which sort of Celtic are to a certain degree when it comes to that kind of board level, why wouldn't you accentuate the positives of your business model and keep on moving forward with the successes you'd achieved, right? But we ended up getting around to talking about the fact that, like, in the modern sort of corporate world, and even in the modern football world, the people that run the game, the clubs at the higher level tend to be a bit more common man type of people, right? Even though they maybe be fucking billionaires and millionaires, right? A good example, I suppose an extreme example would be something like Wrexham, right? You've got Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney. You seem like fucking decent dudes, and they approach the fans in a very normal way and listen to their kind of what they say, and then build the idea around that, right? And that's quite an outlier idea, but you do see it in other football clubs where the kind of hierarchy and the higher structure of the club is a bit more connected in a common sort of person way. Like has a persona that is a bit more in tune with the actual club they're fucking, controlling, right?
I'd agree with that, mate. I think
we're dealing with essentially like old school elitists at this point.
That's what I was about to say there. That's we don't seem to have moved with the times in that respect, and nothing that we're asking for here is radical, right? We're no saying about fucking destroying the PLC, everything else. We're no daft. Again, I keep saying that, we're no naive. Celtic's a PLC. That doesn't mean you can't communicate with your customers. I hate using that term, but I'm just using their terms, you know what I mean? They can't publish their strategy. They can't have good relationships with the people that essentially fund the full thing. Do you know what I mean? And it all boils down to respect as well. They simply don't respect the support. That's what it is.
Yeah, they definitely.
They're very. You says it earlier on, Jason. That it's almost very 90s-esque. Do you know what I mean? This is 2025 now, and there is examples of other clubs changing the way they look at supporters and the way they deal with them. But Celtic are very much stuck in the dark ages in that sense.
And see the age demographic. See like for yous guys, the 10 of yous. What was the average age of yous?
Younger than you anyway.
But what was the average age? 35?
Probably 40s or something, I'd say, to be honest.
40s, right? Okay, but you'd some in their 20s there, right?
Well, no, maybe 30s and older.
Right, okay. But see, Celtic really need to have people in their 20s, in their 30s, involved at a board level as non-executive directors. They should have guys that are in the sports industry, guys that have been marketing executives. See this cunt Brian Wilson, who's an ex-Labour MP and he's been on the fucking thing for 30 years. What's he fucking bringing to the table? They need young people that understand the demographics of what young people like.
Well, that goes back to what we were saying about the board being stale. That's exactly what we talk about when we talk about a stale board. It's the same people, the same old wrinkly white guys, right? That's what it is.
And what I would say as well is, see your Celtic Supporters Association, your affiliation as well. The guys that run them have been doing it for 20 and 30 years as well. They need rooted out of these conversations, as far as I'm concerned.
I
can say that. I'm no member of the
club. It's another argument, but what was made clear at this meeting the other night was with a couple of the collective reps that the old way of dealing with supporters is finished, and this is a new thing, and this isn't going away. There's new energy. There's new people involved. There's a lot more people want to get involved. It's going to be well funded, everything. So there's a brand new way of doing stuff, and it's, as I say, we're not going back to being locked out and not having our say. So I think things are changing for the better. It's a shame that it took us getting knocked out of Europe for that to happen, because this is stuff we've been saying for years. But it is what it is, and we're here now.
But see, the thing is, Ross, it never happens in the back of success.
No, it doesn't, mate. But if something good can come out of it, then that's
it. Because the only time MD1's involved with the Celtic Trust is in times of turmoil. Things are going well, they're kicked to the side. What the fuck do they do for MD? All that shit. And it's just...
That's it, and it's important. And to be honest, mate, I think we're all guilty. I'm particularly guilty as well. And even though I'm a member of the Celtic Trust and everything, but I'm the exact same. Like my energy falls away when we start doing well. And I think it's only natural, but I think I don't know. I think something's different this time. It feels different. It just feels like there's a lot more energy, and we went about it a completely different way this time. It's, as I say to you, it's not the ultra groups at the forefront yet. Rightly or wrongly, it puts people off, and we respect that. Do you know what I mean? But it's new. The fan media is involved. Supporters clubs are all been given a place. Do you know what I mean? And it seems to be working. And it's on us to just make sure it works. That's all it is. It's not going to be rosy. It's not going to be a walk in the park. And in terms of overall aims about getting rid of the board or whatever, all that can be decided properly by the room almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Ross, see on that. See the fact that all the different organisations, buses, etc. Everybody's wanting the same goal: progress for Celtic, changing the way we operate. The only people who aren't asking for that was the people sitting at the other side of the table on Monday, and that just shows you how out of touch they are with the actual wider fan base. Again, people think that everybody, all the different organisations have got their own motive, but we've obviously been part of those conversations where everybody's kind of in line with what they say. They might not agree on actions, etc., but everybody's strong on the fact that it's time for change.
It's gave me a kind of new lease of life with Celtic. I was getting a bit of scunnered with stuff, because like I just said there, this is all stuff we've been saying for a long time, right? About the board being out of touch and about there being no idea what they're doing and kind of asleep at the wheel. But the way their supporters reacted to this, and the way the organisations came about very quickly is it's been refreshing for me. And as I say, it's given me a whole new lease of life, and it's given me a lot of hope, I think, for the future. Our support. I felt that there was we kind of lost something for a long time, and I feel that this is us getting it back, getting our mojo back almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm glad the whole thing's not glad we're in this situation, but I'm glad something positive's coming out of it this time.
I think we're also in the kind of late stage capitalism area of like people understanding and realizing that the only thing Celtic offer you is another place to spend your money.
That's it, Joe. People are pissed off. That's it, man. Aye, that's exactly it, mate. And see about the spending the money thing, and I've said this on chats and all that. I want to give Celtic my money. I want to invest in the club. Do you know what I mean? I love the club. I want to give my money. I want to financially support it. But where that comes, that needs to be respected in a way by the people that are dealing with it. You know what I mean? It's not. It doesn't need to be a one-way street, and that's why I'm not into the whole screaming for boycotts and all that straight away. I want to fund Celtic. I want Celtic to be funded by supporters, and I want us to have a bigger say for what we put in. But that's all. Do you know what I mean?
Totally. So next stages, right? So you said there's a meeting on Thursday. So is the meeting on Thursday, is it open to all, or is it just invites?
It's been invites have been emailed out to the signatories, so it's the same idea as what happened a few weeks ago in Grace's.
Right. Okay.
So everybody that signed the open letter had gave their contact details, an email address, and a nominated person. So they should have the email by now. It doesn't need to be that person, obviously. If there's somebody for a bus and they can't make it, then obviously
somebody else
goes. So the steering group themselves, they'll be meeting early next week. Can I just to try and make sure the meeting's organised and there's a bit of an agenda set, just so it's not a rabble again, know what I mean?
Yeah.
And see where that goes for there. And just on the steering group thing, there's been people saying, well, why are they part of it? Why are they part of it? The reason people are part of this, the steering group, is they're the people that put their name forward and got up after us to do something. Essentially, that's where we're at now.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have got started and it wouldn't have kicked on if everybody had sat and waited for somebody else to do it. So,
and to clear that up there, everybody, there was an initial meeting in Gracie's where there was 150 folk there for every walk of Celtic support in life, and you were asked to show of hands who was wanting to put themselves forward.
Aye, and there was, I think we'd initially anticipated maybe 10 or 15 people doing it, but there was a good. I think there was like 70 odd or 60 odd overall. But a lot of the people into kind of working groups through the collective. So there's like a corporate governance working group. You can try to put people's skills to good use. So there's like a communications one. There's a match day protest one. Just various different types of things that you need. You know what I mean? It's all been explained. Just try to put people's skills to good use. So, but I say it's still very raw, it's still very new, and it's very grassroots. But to me, that's a strength. It shouldn't be looked on as a bad thing. Do you know what I mean? It'll be organic, and wherever it goes, it goes.
100%. And see, like, thinking forward, right? Say Celtic said to you, right, we want another meeting next week. There'd be absolutely no point in having it, would there?
Nah. I wouldn't say so, mate. Nah, no, off the back of that. I think Celtic need to. This just sounds like a breakup. We need some time apart. That's where we're at. I think they need
that's a new quote for the campaign, Ross.
They need to look in house a wee bit, and it's the kind of, but the ball's in their court, man. To get a grip and show us something. Obviously, I think results on the pitch will hopefully start improving. I think that will maybe mellow the support a wee bit, but I can't see it.
There's no value on having another meeting so soon, and it'll probably be a while away before we would probably even consider going back to the table unless there's something tangible there.
Aye, that's it. And this is all. We can't. Nothing can be decided until we obviously meet with all have this open meeting next week. That's where the ideas will come from, and that's where the direction will come from. It's no us dictating what's going to happen next. We've got our own ideas, and there's people within the steering group got their own ideas of where stuff should go. But ultimately, the decision needs to come for everybody else. You know what I mean? And that'll dictate where things go for here. In terms of my personal thing was, I don't see any value. I'm with Michael. I don't see any value in meeting them again. I wouldn't waste another Monday night going sitting for a couple of hours.
Can I make a wee plea in the ultra groups? Obviously, you're here now, right? I think we need to think of something unique about this. Because see Motherwell, right? I'm an old fart, right? And I totally support everything. I support both groups, you know that, right?
Aye.
But see, like, when we were scoring a goal and sack the board straight away after the goals, because I don't know if you were singing it because I sit next to the Green Brigade. And I'm like, fuck off, man, he's peace. And it's
we were all. There was a few years amongst us all fucking staring at each other, moaning. What I mean,
because it's like copying that shower after they beat Livingston. They scored against Livingston straight away. Martin Getty. And it's like, I'm like, I think he's something original. But see, while the game's on, you want to support the team. And I get if there's a silence or if there's an organised whatever protest, I get that, and I'll be taking part in it as well. But see, just sporadic sack the boards after a goal, it's fucking, it's not the time or the place.
I don't even know. Sometimes fucking shit just happens, doesn't it, Jason? It's no, it's you know what crowds are like, but I don't think it was anything. I don't think any of it was scored with a better sign against him. I mean, I think it was probably one of the ones. It's just there's been times it's fucking we've been singing and I've been singing along. Then 2 minutes in, what the fuck am I doing here?
Just on that there, I think it's been spoke about that if we're going to make any dent in getting change, that we need to bring everybody involved as well. So fans can get easily isolate themselves with one faction or whatever. They don't want to get involved in it because of the songs. They don't want to get involved in it because the groups are involved or however it may be. So I think that over the next period, that'll definitely be on the table to try and pull as many people for different people who are no part of the signatories so far, to pull them in and get them on board as well. And the way to do that is definitely get the match day fans on board.
Aye,
totally. I mean, Ross said it's organic and it's got to grow. And as I say, everybody's done amazing so far to get it where it is now. You know,
there's been a few people, mate. A few people in the like this. It wouldn't. The thing when they got up after the ground, if it wasn't for them, like a game and stuff. I don't know how. I don't know if he works. He's honestly like a workhorse, mate. There's a couple of other people.
Brilliant. And say to yourself, and you know, and we all know the usual suspects, and people slate them and things like that. But see, if it wasn't for them, this wouldn't have been getting half the ground, you know. And it's mere power to them. And the thing is, I'm sure as it grows and grows, if it is to be an official body, you know, well, it is an official body in a sense that the fans they're representing a right big chunk of the fan base at the minute. But if it is to be an official, I'm sure it can be democratic elected. I'm sure everything will be above board. There's nothing gone under the covers here.
No, I mean, that's it. There's nobody involved with this. Well, I've not come across anybody involved in this for status, or there's no egos.
No, exactly.
It's very genuine. You know what I mean?
100%.
And you want to make sure it stays that way. You need to protect it. You know what I mean? And make sure any fucking Johnny come latelys, like nobody's getting in there for the wrong reasons. You know what I mean? And
exactly.
But there's nothing glamorous. There's nothing to gain for it. You know what I mean? I can't see that happening.
Can I ask that we've done an hour now on the meeting, right? Which and I think we've covered loads of stuff. Right? Can I ask though, like, obviously at the end of the meeting, everybody walks out together. Was there like a kind of a collective sigh when you just all got insane, or you know what the fuck?
It was awkward. That's the only way I can describe it, is awkward, right? So the meeting finished and it was like, obviously we had the whole formal walk up, like I described earlier, like a wedding going into the chapel. There was none of that in the way out. It was they kind of sat there
down the stairs and off we went.
People were shuffled and then the chairs just kind of out and we walked down the stair. There was a guy, I know one of the travel stewards because his boy goes on the bus, and he was standing at the bottom of the stairs. He was working in the security parkade, and he's like, see the way you move your thumb up and down as if to say good or bad. He's like, and I'm like, you better get fucking bigger fences there, going by how that meeting went. You know what I mean? I was like, that bad. I said, it was just, we were literally, as I said, we're walking down the stair, and it was like silence going out the room, and then as soon as we got into the staircase, just everybody talking, going, what the fuck was that? We were genuinely in shock how bad it went. You know what I mean?
Well, then, I suppose then the question becomes, what do we all do about that then? Because I mean, I suppose the overall question for people who are paying money is like, what are we funding? We love the players in the park. We love the jersey. We love the badge. We love the stadium. We love the club. We love everything about it. But what are we funding? Are we funding?
It compounded for me that they're incapable of doing that job. They didn't. It gives me the fear to think that they two are going in, and I don't want to get personal with them because it's no personal, and that was actually said at the meeting as well. This isn't personal against you two. This is about the job that's getting done and what you're doing. But see if Michael Nicholson and Chris Mackay were going in to try and conclude a deal, it gives me the fear even thinking about it, or the shudder. They're incapable of selling our club to anybody. And I just...
that's depressing a lot, because you're saying, like, if you're sitting there as an agent and a guy, these two walk in, you go, oh fuck me, here comes Lurch and fucking Morticia.
That's it, mate. And see, and Celtic should be an easy sell. The idea, the history, and the potential. And that's not just talking as a supporter. That's talking as somebody who's realistic and what football is. But they two would make you want to fucking sign for Hibs instead. It's you know what I mean? It's like, that's how bad it was. So,
I totally
apart from that, it was good.
Here, was there any pies?
No, mate. Do you know what?
Fucking bastards!
I actually said that in the CSA, when a few of us met before, like, everybody's obviously sitting there all serious, ready to go. No, I had to say, remember, nobody take any tea and biscuits in here. You don't want to be compromised. So.
Oh Jesus, man! It's
depressing.
It's laughable, but it's fucking so sad, and it's fucking horrifying at the same time.
But it's
a reality.
The positive side, Jason, it had to happen, and everybody's been exposed to it. And as I say, they minutes were the joint minutes we was in the club. So that's the club looking the best they can look at it for their part, which says a lot. You know what I mean? So that gives you an idea of how bad our minutes would have been if we would put our own ones out.
I suppose. And do you know what as well? It's got to the stage now, right? Without a shadow of a doubt, it's not even in question now, that see the Celtic fans collective, as a group, they've got far more business acumen about them than the people that are running our club.
Well, there's like their support's got, even if you look at the fan media here, like the talent involved in it is ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? And the working groups coming out, the collective, particularly corporate governance and stuff. Like, there's so much expertise in there that it'd be daft not to tap into that. You know what I mean?
There's no hiding place for that board now.
No, there really isn't, mate. There was actually a good wee bit about that. See, when they were talking about the fan survey during the meeting, talking about the fan survey, and obviously Paul's an academic. I think he's a uni lecturer or something like that. And they're sitting talking about the difficulties with the data, and he was firing all sorts of questions. I was sitting there wanting to fucking go under the table. You know what I mean? Going, this is quite terrible.
They tried to confuse him by saying that it's not being released because they were finding it difficult to pull the data from the report, and Paul was just basically saying, I find that hard to believe because I'm an academic and that's the full purpose of the report. Is so it's
literally what he does as a job. So he was using all the jargon and everything else, and you could just tell they realised they were talking to an expert on it. Do you know what I mean? And there's going to be different situations with that, and there's, do you know what I mean? Particularly around even the finance side, there's going to be people within the collective that are very high up in the corporate world as well. Do you know what I mean? And their skills will be put to use as well.
But see that, but yous are facing at the other end of the table, right? You're talking about head of commercial operations, head of legal and governance, CEO and CFO. That's the highest echelons of our football club that was facing yous, and they're so far out of depth.
Well, I would say, I've said this to a few people here. I don't think they're in their positions because of talent. They're in their positions because of network and who they know.
Right.
And that's very clear.
They're in their position because they're patsies as well. They'll toe the party.
I think we're getting to a point where we need to probably just close off.
Probably
chat about the meeting. To be honest with you, because of we don't want to be delving into bitch fest territory.
But I'm saying, no.
Honestly, Jason, I think we've covered so much very well. I think that booking it with something like this here probably wouldn't be.
But listen. I was making a statement of fact. I was talking about the people that were representing Celtic Football Club. There are the highest echelons of Celtic Football Club. They can't go to their superiors. I mean, the superior might be a bigger shareholder, but as people in a job at Celtic, they are the top of the tree.
Well, I need to shout in a wee second, but just on that, right? So the overall impression I got with the people that are in the room, just talking about the positions, none of them were talking for a place of authority or a position of authority.
No, because they wouldn't be the guy that pushed the button.
No,
they need
that was, and I think that was very clear to everybody that was in the room.
I think what they did was they exercised face-to-face communication and nothing much more than that.
No, they were hearing what we were saying. They weren't listening. I think that's the way.
Exactly. There you go. Perfectly. Right,
I need to shoot because I'm getting around.
Right, Ross, thanks a lot, mate.
Right,
Michael, you're welcome to hang on if you want.
I'm not going to hang on, mate. We're going to talk about some football.
No, I'll show off as well. I've got stuff to do.
No worries, mate.
Top man, Michael.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Thanks
Okay.
a lot, Michael. Thanks, Ross.
See
you later, guys. Much appreciated.
Scott McCory's now back.
There he's there.
Who are they? Two fannies.
Scott, did you ban Winston for the chat? Winston Churchill for the chat?
Mate, I don't know what the script's happening here, man.
He's back on.
No, I never banned him. I put him in a timeout, but I don't really know what the script. Well, I don't really know what's happening.
I just look in the chat there. It says Winston Churchill has been banned from this chat.
Proper order, fucking proper order.
But once again, so to put context on it to any of our troops, right? Because let's be honest with it, I think we're kind of one of the less listened pods out there because basically.
I dare you.
But we don't fucking chase shit. Do you know what I mean? We're kind of content.
We're a bit like the Celtic board.
That's it.
We're just here.
Fucking root them out, but but I've listened to loads this week, especially all the guys who were at the meeting, and I've found it fucking really, really interesting, their own perspectives. And I can only reiterate, I'm sitting in a room, a virtual room in it, on WhatsApp, with all these people that I didn't know before. And I can't say, I'm so impressed with, like I say, I was saying to the troops here, man, I'm fucking sitting in the corner holding the jackets at this point, you know, and fucking, anybody need any tea, I'll fucking go and get it. But no, it's I think, I understand the frustration at the meeting. And I was a wee bit downhearted, even though we spoke on this pod. I didn't think it was going to go well. I thought they would have offered something. But we were getting in with a fucking mandate of saying, see, use two knobs in your pal. We're wanting you out to fuck. So I didn't think that was ever going to happen. But I thought they would have gave something. And Gemmel's own statement that he was so downhearted that the guy sitting across from him was the guy running our club. And it scared them. That was kind of disheartening to hear as well. I think in the end up, for the collective, it's maybe not been a bad thing. I think it's maybe, I mean, Celtic released the minutes, and you guys as long as truth as me, Celtic can release fucking, we shot Bambi the day, and he'll be the first guy on it. Well done, Celtic. Great move. That fucking
had to be done.
It was a blight in all lives.
Bambi jerseys coming soon.
You know what I mean? Henrik Larsson riding Bambi.
Deerskin shorts to go with it.
So, but there was none of that. There was none of that this time. So, but I come up with an analogy the other day, right? And see, once I say it, you'll go, Scott, that's common sense, but it sums up where we are, right? Again, I'm going to promote the overlap as I always do. They had a pod this week and they were discussing who was on it. It wasn't the Kennedy Glees fan, but anyway, they were sitting talking, and Gary Neville was talking about Ange coming into Nottingham Forest. Right, bear with me till I get to the point here. They were talking about Ange coming in, and he says, "Is Ange the biggest flip from the previous manager that's ever happened?" And Roy Keane, being his usual say, was really good at it. He always kind of gives a contrary view. So he said, "But they players, you tell me they players can't be good enough to play it?" And Gary Neville went into his own thinking, and he's like, I remember playing right back and centre half, and then right back, sorry, for Man United, and we had this style and we were winning everything. And then Alex Ferguson went and bought Varane, and our whole style changed on the basis of this one player. Things that I was doing automatically, that wasn't there. The two forwards who were dropping deep to get it, they weren't there. I was now looking at a guy playing midfield who was advanced, and it totally fucked up my style. So with that in mind, we've spoken about it already. We've seen with Brian McColligan on the show, and we're talking about him, how Negrin has changed our midfield. See the fact that right. So let's put some things into context. From January this year, Brendan Rodgers made the decision. I presume he made the decision to cut Kyogo loose. Kyogo's obviously been angling a move, and he's cut Kyogo loose, and he's maybe gave either the go, right, and we know how that went, right. So he's took Kyogo's left. Kuhn's obviously the petted lips out at this point. I think that's fair to say, and we've heard since that Maeda has been wanting out since February too. The rumours go that Carter Vickers has been kind of making them mumblings, and so is Maeda. So you put that in, right?
See, as well.
Right, and sorry, I said Maeda twice here, but right. So put that. Think about, first of all, right? Who is this information conveyed to, right? Because I don't know. Is it the players go to Brendan Rodgers and go, Brendan, right, I've done everything, I need to boost? Or does it go to Tisdale? Or does it go to their agent, and their agent says to whoever, right? So anyway, Brendan Rodgers knows that he's going to be losing two wingers. It's looking likely that his left back, who cuts in, is going to be leaving, and we're going to be bringing Kieran Tierney back. And Kieran Tierney is a totally different player. So see, with all that in mind, we need to get everybody in and everybody out as quick as we can. That makes total sense to me. So he can take that whole group away and work with them as long as he can possibly go. Do you know what I mean? You think it's like us. You want to build your team and get your team working.
It's called logic, Scott. It's called logic.
Joe, exactly right. That's what I'm saying. See when you kind of just say it out loud, you're kind of going, that's common sense. Now, the fact that we don't work with a football structure around the manager, they don't look. Michael Nicholson at no point is sitting going, see if we can get all these guys in. It allows Brendan Rodgers to work with a midfielder who's not Engels, because Negrin needs to fit into this team, which he's not doing just now. And it's affecting Callum McGregor. And I would say it's affecting the midfield. The fact that Taylor's known that midfield and Kieran Tierney's trying to do something is affecting our team. See the fact that we didn't have a striker, and you throw in Maeda's form, and our wingers were so important to us, and then we reduced the quality so much that we needed more for the midfield, who is now dysfunctional. I know we kind of rattled into Brendan Rodgers, but see when you just write all that down, it's so fucked up way of working. I understand things happen. Somebody gets sold in the last day of a transfer window. But see the fact that we don't have a director of football and somebody who is working in his best interest reporting directly to the board. We are basically putting the boot right into Brendan Rodgers for the basics of winning an extra quid here and there.
Here's the thing, right? I had a thought.
Does that make, sorry, Joe, before you crack on, does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Yeah, totally. What you're saying makes complete sense, but which is why it doesn't make sense in a Celtic context.
Yeah,
what you're saying makes complete sense. Complete common sense, total logic, forward thinking, step by step, adapt.
No, but I'd like to question a couple of things.
Go for it.
So you're making a load of assumptions here that Brendan Rodgers and the board weren't aware of this. because I get we don't have a director of football, right? So they've not got a direct contact, but I think the players would go to their agent rather than go to the club. I don't think Maeda would have a conversation with Brendan Rodgers. He would tell his agent would contact Celtic.
Well,
So
that was my initial question. How does that get conveyed to the club?
Oh, I would say that's the way it gets conveyed.
Right. So, but who does it go to?
So I don't know.
See there.
So it's Tisdale. Must be Tisdale.
So it goes to Tisdale, right? And does Tisdale then have a word with Brendan Rodgers, or does Brendan Rodgers find this out down the line?
Well, we don't know. And listening to how incompetent the Celtic board are, he's probably still no fun out about it.
so
he's
right,
probably still in the dark.
That was just my initial kind of fling up query. But my point is, he knew in his heart of heart Taylor was away, and he knew Kieran Tierney was coming. There was almost 2 definites of the summer, wasn't it? So we've changed how our fullbacks are working for a start. The good thing is he got Tierney in early, and Taylor left when he did. So that's workable. But then we kind of lost players and we never replaced them. So I'm not saying that Brendan Rodgers has gotten out here, because me and you are I think we're level pegging on where we are with Brendan Rodgers. But in terms of such a big change that was going to happen this summer, we've just not prepared in the slightest. And we've not prepared in such a way that for them to sit there and tell the boys in that room, nah, we think this is correct, we think this is right, is the scariest fucking thing in the world.
It's horrific.
Isn't it? I mean, it was a long way to get a shortcut, but it was fucking...
I was kind of wondering where you were going, mate, because I thought we were jumping into football here about Brendan Rodgers, but I do get your point now, and I totally 100% agree with it. Regardless of whether the director of football model is the way forward, it's just the Celtic Football Club are totally dysfunctional.
Yeah.
100% dysfunctional.
I mean, obviously we knew all this anyway, but to get it thrown in your face so fucking harshly has taken us all a bit aback, yeah?
Does it allow us a different lens to look at Brendan Rodgers, though, given the fact that people have come face to face with what they have deemed to be, I don't want to call it incompetence, but certainly not the representation that they expected to be faced with? Does it give Brendan Rodgers a wee bit more of a leniency in our attitude? Because it must be very frustrating to be a coach and a manager like Brendan Rodgers and try to feed your ideas and ambitions and progress plans up to the people who make decisions and find that it goes essentially nowhere, and you wind up getting what you get, and you don't get upset.
Well, Joe, I know if you work in regardless of what industry you're working in, right? Well, no, regardless, but depending on the industry you're working in, you will arrange. I mean, everybody's in control of their own destiny, right? So when you're getting paid hundreds of thousands of pounds, millions of pounds, like Brendan Rodgers is getting, you've got a level of responsibility. So he should have his network within Celtic. He should have meetings with his key stakeholders regularly to find out exactly what's happening. So we don't have a director of football, but there'll be somebody in the club that would be playing that kind of role. It can't be him. Surely folk don't contact him relating to transfers. Well, maybe they do, but obviously he's got to run it by the board. But he should have regular meetings, and he should be fully aware of what's happening at the football club. And if he's not, then he needs to call it out. And it kind of did, in a sense, but he didn't. He was cute about it. But I don't think for a minute he's unaware of the situations that Scott was explaining earlier. So he needs to know, for the board, a timeline when they're getting people in. Are you getting them in? Are you know what's your confidence level? Blah, blah, blah. And he's got to plan for that.
Yeah, that's Jason to kind of cut in there. That was my point.
Right.
It was. I presume Brendan Rodgers knew that what play. I presume that Brendan Rodgers knows what players are unhappy and what are not happy as soon as it's, as you said, it's reported. I mean, we've all heard the stories. Fucking chat with governors. All right, Gaffer. By the way, I want more dough. Oh, fucking that. I mean, no, they all go through agents now. We take that for granted. I mean, they're paying these guys thousands and thousands of pounds, so they fucking better get a finger out. But so I'm just presuming that Brendan Rodgers knew he had an unhappy squad in terms of players from fucking February. I mean, and that the fact that we've still got them kind of does hamstring him something else.
Well, it kind of does, but he's still got a squad of players there that's far superior to anything in the league.
Yeah, of course.
And far superior to fucking Kyra Almaty.
Yeah.
So I'm no fucking absolving him of the fucking responsibility of the fucking shit show that we're watching now, no. But at the end of the day, I'm no fucking giving the board a free pass because, but at the end of the day, just because he's no had fucking £10 million signings and whatever, I do get the fact that all we had was Negrin and Kieran Tierney. That's all he had. And with the players that he'd lost, obviously Kuhn and fucking Greg Taylor, etc. Kyogo, fucking Jota's injured, right? So that's hard. But we still had enough bodies in the building to fucking deal with what was in front of us now. So no, I'm no absolving him of the responsibility, no.
There you go, Joe. Fuck him.
That was the question. I was literally asked the question, and the answer is fuck him. Fuck him.
The question is, do you absolve him of any blame? And we say,
fuck that. Fuck
For anybody who wants to know where that sound clip comes from, it's from a boy called Paddy McGuire, who online is known as Rare Witch. And if you go online and watch his stuff, he's a fucking genius.
Fuck that.
Fuck that. And Paddy would love that. Brilliant.
It's funny, and it was one, the European qualification is success in Europe. See that line that they've hit at me?
Madness.
No, European qualification is a result of your league position. It's not because see, when you think of it, here's the madness of it, right? Somebody should have. I know it's all very good fucking coming up with questions after, but if somebody would kind of give you the same line. So, our last manager who finished second in the league was sacked. So, by that logic, coming third in Scottish football is a total no-no, total failure. Coming second, it's a failure, but I would imagine it would come under some, if things, say we had successes somewhere else. So coming first is almost a prerequisite. And you get European football for coming first or second. Now, if finishing third is failure, then European football can't be a success. European football qualification, by that logic, it can't be a success. It must be an expectation if your expectation is to win the league. So to then go into that and kind of go, well, we're just happy to be here, waving at people, that just totally nullifies your fucking point altogether. I mean, it's an absolute bonkers logic. Bonkers.
Aye, when you go back to the Isla years, a fucking three-legged blind donkey could have won the league for us the years. Do you know what I mean? Fucking.
Some would argue he did.
Do you know what? See, to me, the biggest failure of Ronnie Taylor's career, right, is that Celtic Soul movie, the Jay Baruchel.
Yeah.
Because they finally got to Celtic Park, and it was like fucking 40,000 cunts in there, and it was all scattered. I was like, That is the most depressing end to a film.
There was a bald fella in fucking the Celtic club fucking singing, "We've got a bus go running down, yeah."
Fucking, I wrote the fucking song.
Well, you stole it for Everton, fuck's sake.
Yeah, I just changed the words around about fucking artistic license, Scott. Come on, Joe knows all about that.
Exactly.
Liverpool FC
listen.
tape, buddy.
Listen, you can't steal a good vibe.
Hey, we were in Santa Ponza when the goal was released, Joe.
Right. Fucking that Shamrock, what was that bar? Fucking
The Dubliner.
Dubliner, it was fucking bouncing, man.
Bouncing, man.
20
Hey,
me up the stage.
We were all fucking singing it every fucking day, man.
I think they started in Milan, into Milan away, at the tappy pool tables, not the fucking full pub was good after
Then
that.
fucking Van Dijk ruined it, prick.
I know, bastard.
Right, so I was going to ask, who was at Braga?
Oh, aye, you've depressed me. Aye, I was at fucking Braga.
There you go.
Joe, no, it's funny, right? There's a smashing boy that sits beside us, younger fella from Livingston, and so he sat in amongst all us reprobates, and generally off weeks were all fucking blotto, do you know what I mean? And he drives through every week. He's never ever bust, and we're fucking miraculous. But every noon, so I kind of turned up that Braga game and see when he scored in the first half. I remember just turning around and we go, I'm never fucking coming to a game sober again. And he's like, oh, for fuck's sake. Mate, it was torture. It was torture. And the irony was I was sitting fucking, Jason was, I know fucking, I don't think Casper Schmeichel's a problem. I think Casper Schmeichel's, I think you're right, Jason. I think you're right. Fucking hell. I actually think in that podcast we said, we could win this thing. Fuck's sake.
I showed my wee lad that goal, right? Because he was out of the room. I said, come back and see this goal. And his first question was, he goes, why is he trying to save a ball with his left hand when it's coming to his right hand? That boy's 10, and he's not a goalkeeper.
Oh, it just wasn't. It wasn't just that. It was like, see, his distribution. Fucking hell. Oh, it was pathetic, man. He put us under pressure 4 times.
Yeah.
Trying wee clips to the left, nearly all the clips were to the left, and just weren't finding a man, and they were fucking on the attack straight away. And the goalie let in was just fucking ludicrous. And it was like that first half, and oh my god, it was just horrific. And you were just like, what the fuck? But one thing I would say, and like, I'm no Brendan Rodgers' biggest fan. I fucking support the guy 100% while he's here and wish him every success, right? But he did change it. And I couldn't see it, but he put 3 at the back. And see, for the first 20, 25 minutes of the second half, we were by far the better team. What a difference. You know, he did change the shape. And we very rarely change our shape. You know, we just put different players into that position. Hopefully they'll do better than the ones that were in before them. And then obviously the disallowed goal. What the fuck? Worst decision ever.
Aye, that's ridiculous.
By the way, I reckon it was that Green Brigade banner. I'm never mind conspiracy theories, but see the Green Brigade banner about Israel, which I fully endorse. I reckon it was that got it. UEFA, fuck UEFA, or whatever it was about UEFA fucking complicit. I reckon it was something like that because it had to be. It could not be cheating. I mean, if you follow the guidelines of VAR, you need to fully check it. And even that Don Robertson or whatever says it, it says, well, the linesman gave the handball, it goes to VAR, and can you conclusively agree that it was a handball? And the answer is no. So it's got to be a goal. And it just wasn't. And you're saying, that's cheating. It was like, it can't be a mistake. It cannot be a mistake. There was not one angle there that even looked like it hit his arm.
Yeah.
So,
because it didn't hit his arm. It fucking didn't.
Well, it didn't. So they've cheated. So they've just said fuck them. So something's went down, and it's probably not the banner, but it's probably just Celtic's fans' reputation in Europe, and somebody within the echelons of UEFA that was holding the button that night says fuck them, and just done us. Right, fuck that.
That's what I thought straight away. I thought cheating straight away. I was like, it's cheating.
Well, it is. And by the way, for all how bad we were, Scott, that goes in. We're winning that game.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
You took the words out of my mouth. I mean, we were absolutely garbage. I've decried Rodgers numerous times on this pod for no changing it. He basically went man to man. I mean, we matched up, and and as you say, we looked far superior. And then we've scored this fucking great goal. The big strikers, what a fucking goal! And then it's nonsense, man. And then I mean, like the second goal, I don't know. It's a fucking, I don't know, mate.
Aye, you're no one to throw fucking Dane Murray under a bus.
No, I don't. I really don't. I don't. Fuck me.
And young Donovan in the first half, he was trying his heart out, but he was just all over the place.
He was all in the show, yeah.
Aye.
Yeah.
But fair play to Rodgers, you know, he regrouped at half time, changed the full shape.
Yeah.
And by God, the first 25 minutes, I thought we were really good. You know, and just fucking.
The Sturm Graz game is fucking. If we actually give a fuck about this competition, the Sturm Graz game's fucking wild big now. Wild, man. And for the both times I watched them against the Monks and I watched them against Midtjylland. And I'll be honest, Midtjylland, I know they beat, who was it? They beat Villa, did they? Who did Midtjylland beat? They beat an English team. I would put Forest. The Forest it was. I have to say I didn't think they were much caught either. But let's be honest about it, we are fucking no much caught. So
and that's
and I know I'm a fanboy for Engels, and anybody who I'm not even going to sit and argue with anybody who tells me you're talking shit, Scott, because the boy's done for. But I would be moving heaven and earth to get him into the team. The new.
Me as well. I've seen it at the Motherwell game when they come on.
No, I think
he can play football.
Yeah. I honestly think so, man. I agree with you. Yeah,
he's got an engine. You know, he's a good football player, and he's got an engine. He just needs to run the team.
But see, this is a frustrating thing, lads. Everybody needs a run in the team, and they're no getting runs in the team, and we're just bouncing around, criticising everybody they know, rather than kind of going, right, just chill out. Do you know what I mean?
I think Engels is the victim of not being given enough responsibility.
Right, go for it. Explain yourself.
I think he just needs to be, because he's brought in as a bit part player, right? He's never given a role as like being a specific midfield kind of creator, which is I think is what he has, right? And he can move forward, but he's never given that chance, in my opinion. He's always kind of placed in as a kind of support to McGregor or somebody else in the midfield, and he does well enough. But I think his real talent would be if he was in the central going forward. But
see, when you're in the midfield, Joe, it's up to you to do it.
I think.
You've got your
I don't know.
But do you not think everything pivots around what McGregor does and where he is?
Aye. But at the end of the day, Callum McGregor is the pivotal midfield player, right?
I know. What I'm saying is he has the full responsibility in capacity, right, as the captain, right, and that's fine, right? But because he's captain doesn't necessarily mean that whole thing has to revolve around what he's doing, right?
I knew kind of understand what you're saying, and due to his own form, I think we could be doing with replacing him more in games and giving other people a fresh go of things. But See, I do have.
Is it a big thing though, Scott, to move him from that position to say if you switched him with Engels, right? In terms of Engels is always kind of deployed a wee bit more wide, right? And he finds himself always kind of closer to the lane, right? But if you switched him with McGregor, is that a big issue then? Because your captain is now not central.
Joe, you're kind of like. Do you
I'm reading into it obviously a lot. I mean,
no, but do you reckon Engels should be a holding midfielder dictating the play?
No, I've always kind of maintained that Engels is essentially a kind of make-up ballot player.
Right. So he shouldn't. Callum McGregor shouldn't interfere with the way he plays, then, because Callum McGregor's a holding midfielder.
Is he?
Yeah, but yeah, he's not a whole. He's not a defensive midfielder in the whole fucking break it up, let it start.
Last season, he was a goal scoring midfielder.
Yeah, Scott. Callum McGregor, that's the number. He's like your number 6.
No, but what we've expected for Callum McGregor is to get the ball off the defence and start the attack.
Aye.
And that's not been happening this year. He's been, I don't know if he's shat the bed, but how many times has Callum McGregor? What game was it? It was a game recently where I think every time the ball came to Scales was passing the ball right through to the winger. Do you know what I mean? He was getting the ball and he was passing it to Netke, right through the midfield to the Netke. And you're kind of going, McGregor, you could have made that pass, but there was 2 guys in front of him, so he never took the risk. I don't know if his confidence is gone.
Yep.
And I'd like to think that Engels, see, I agree with Joe. I think Engels has got that kind of Stan Petrov, Balak kind of edge of one box to the edge of the other box. And I think that's what we should be encouraging him to be.
Yes.
But the thing is, real attack.
Callum McGregor's got to feed him the ball quicker.
Aye. No, I would.
Like Engels can take the ball, he can keep the ball, and he can move with the ball, and he can hit a ball quickly.
Say ball again.
Ball.
Aye. But I do get it. But I think, see this fucking about with the midfield all the time. It's no doing us any favours.
Yes,
right?
100%.
But the thing is, as well, it's no performing. So I understand why he's fucking about it, because he's trying to get. But you kind of need to sit with some. And surely Arnie Engels. See, again, we're going back to your point you made at the start, Scott. Nygren.
Yeah.
Nygren's a problem because he's a good player, right? But he's all over the shop.
Yeah.
And he's like a wild free spirit. You know, he's fucking out to the left, he's out to the right, he doesn't stop running, but he's like a fucking heedless chicken at times. But he's definitely got something. But I think, me personally, our best midfield, and you might not agree, but I would say it's McGregor, Hatate and Engels. That's, to me, with the players we've got, and bring Nygren on as a sub or whatever, and Bernard on as a sub, and McCowan. But I would say they 3 are the best. And Rio Hatate.
In theory.
I get that Hatate's no been. I thought he was all right at the weekend, and you know, but
Hatate McGregor haven't been on it. Fact.
No.
And we're almost flinging shit.
Aye.
And try to kind of get it. What I mean, do you know something, right? I actually think I might have said this the other week. It's interesting that we let the young fella go to Partick Thistle. What's his name? Mercado.
Aye.
And Mercado came on against Aberdeen last year.
Aberdeen at Tawdry, I know.
And he looked like he had something totally different, something that we could really utilise right now.
Mm.
He looks like some. However, because nobody in midfield is playing well, I mean, at best, I'd say McCowan looks good. Bernardo's now taking his chance. Engels not taking his chance. Hatate McGregor fell off a cliff. And Nygren, I understand why Nygren's playing, because Nygren's giving you goals. Whereas nobody else fucking... I mean, obviously, Iniacho's come in now and that's taken it. But even Tunecki, I mean, I'm loving Tunecki now, but you're kind of going to him. We start needing a few more goals off you, kid. You know what I mean? Because
you're kind of going here. Can we keep this guy?
No, I've kind of tempered with him, to be honest with you.
Why have you tempered with him? I wonder if it's the same reason as me.
The initial burst that he was outstanding, and now he seems like a one-trick pony that folk are getting wise to him.
No, that's not with me.
No,
with me, I don't think he releases a ball when he should.
Aye,
there's one thing about getting the ball and going at somebody, and that you keep beating them, but you've still got to know when the ball through to that guy for a fucking easy tap in there. Got to, and I don't think he's got that. But and the frustrating thing is the amount of money and the knowledge he has. We were always comfortable that Brendan Rodgers could get it. However, it looks like Brendan Rodgers failed with Ida. It now looks like he's failing with Engels. Because see, last year we could go to a pod from a year ago, and we're sitting here kind of going, you know what, lads? Aye. Rodgers will shape these two boys into something, and they'll prove them all wrong. I mean, there was a Kilmarnock guy I did a podcast with, and he went, I can't believe Celtic have spent 20 million on these two players. They look woeful. And I fucking, what is it, bookmarked it. I bookmarked it, and by the way, the boy's right. Fucking.
Aye.
So,
but again, that goes back to Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah, exactly. The guy. I mean, is the fucking the period off for him, and the frustrating.
I think so.
I think so. I think this year's all about damage limitation.
Well, I'll be honest with you, right? Let's go on to Motherwell, and then we can get into a discussion about that. So let's cover Motherwell, and then we go into my thoughts about Celtic.
That's it. We'll just finish with your thoughts. Like Reverend I am Jolly.
No, but obviously.
No, I'm only kidding. Crack on.
So Motherwell, right? Like, fucking hell. So I was going into the game with all sorts of trepidation, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're like, you don't know how it's going to go, right? And fucking hell. So we get a penalty, which I didn't think was a penalty. I didn't think theirs was a penalty. I didn't think ours was a penalty. But when I've seen both back, they were penalties, right? So fair enough. I thought ours was outside the box for some reason, and I thought or was it theirs was outside the box? I can't mind the two penalties, but I didn't think no. Theirs was soft, but when you see it again, it's standing on his foot sort of thing. I thought ours was outside the box because I was right in line with it, but it transpired it was in the box. So he gets a gift there and gets a penalty, which I think was against the run of play. I don't think we deserved it. And then they goes fucking 2-1 up, where I thought a dodgy penalty, but then, and I couldn't fucking grumble with it. So then they gave the gift of the season, and fair play to Nigrin, he dispatched it well, and I got us back in the game. And then, to be fair to Rodgers, he made the substitutions with Engels, Tierney, whatever, come on. And I thought we were far better towards the end of the game, And, so we got the victory. But, my God, we're fucking toiling. And people are saying this is the spark that will get us. And I just think back to the fucking COVID season and whatever. And I just don't think that team's got it anymore. I was delighted to see the way Maeda celebrated. And to be fair to him, people have been doubting him about he's no trying. He's trying. And I think he's the kind of guy who'll give everything. And I'm delighted, and the fans singing his name at the end and all that. Surely that will get him, even get him to fucking January, and they'll try your best for us. But I just think Celtic are a disaster in the making. And I'm just no confident at all about anything this season at all going forward.
So, aye, that's like I say, I think it's I'm at the stage. I think the Europa League should be put to the side. What happens? What happens with that? Don't worry about it, and we'll kind of go to Tynecastle is looming dark on the fucking horizon. To be honest, no,
Well,
I don't.
it's actually turning into an absolutely massive game.
Massive game. I don't disagree. Like I say, do you remember the COVID year? We'd sit and do this on a Friday night, and we kept saying, "I wonder when it'll click. I wonder when it'll click," and it never clicked. Never clicked at any point. Actual clicked the wrong way, and we collapsed. And I don't know, man. I'm fucking. I hope. That sums it up. I hope.
Well, see when you're talking about your last minute winner at Kilmarnock that possibly wasn't a penalty, and then your last minute winner 2 minutes into injury time against Motherwell at home, and see when you're no playing well and getting these, but you've got form. We've got no form and we're no playing well, but we're getting these last minute winners that's keeping us there, and it's keeping the belief that things can change. And I hope to God I'm wrong. But I don't see cohesion with this team at all. I don't see this team playing good fit. I mean, Motherwell at home, and granted, they're playing good football, but they came at us. They left spaces at the back. They weren't fucking 10 men a hand the ball. They came and fucking challenged us. And they began in the road fucking raging they didn't get in with the game, because they fucking certainly deserved it. And you say to yourself, you look at the money that's on that park, the value of the players, there's not a Motherwell player would get in our team. Not one of them. But they fucking matched us. And if you're a neutral watching the game, it's a really good game to watch. But my God, we are so far off, it's unbelievable. But the only kind of bit of comfort I can take is when he made the subs at the end, the players that were on the park at the end, hopefully that's kind of where he goes with going forward. But we'll wait and see. It's totally fucking, I've no clue what's going to happen going forward.
No.
But are you get the same vibes as me, Scott? It's no like this could be the spark. It's
No,
just
I'm trying to right. I don't believe in sparks. I believe in sustained improvement. Right, sparks don't happen. However, for every COVID year, right, I always remember talking to somebody about. Remember, obviously, when we picked Hearts to the league back in the 80s,
86,
and I remember talking to old George. So I'd have been at 5, and I remember talking to George, in the Vogue, and I asked him. I says, "Was Celtic good that year?" And he was like, "Fuck no, Celtic were fucking rotten, man." And Hearts just showed us a wee chink of light, and we managed to just kind of get ourselves going and getting wins, and we fucking. And he says we were fucking honky tonk that practically that whole year, and I think when you're better than teams, sometimes that's how I think we should maybe part the Europa League, and kind of like I say, if it works on the day, it works on the day, brilliant. But just get these 1-0 wins and get these fucking things done, and then we all go to town next summer when we're fucking season title renewals up. No, so I don't know, mate. I really don't know. It's when you say stuff like that, because you're a very positive person when it comes to Celtic, you're giving me the fucking heebie-jeebies. But saying that, during the COVID year, you were the positive one, so maybe I'm fucking flip side. Maybe we'll be all right.
I wasn't. You fucked my juju now, because I wasn't doing that deliberately. Now I'm thinking, oh no. Well, it might work, but because I wasn't doing that deliberately, I was doing that consciously. So hopefully that doesn't count with Juju.
Here's what I think.
What was it? No gloom and doom. No gloom and doom.
Here's what I think about
doom and gloom.
Here's what I think. Here's what I think that this season's going to be like. Have you ever had a panic attack?
No, Linda's loads.
I've had loads of panic attacks, right? Panic attacks feels like a really like a long time of consistent fucking what the fuck, and everything's a breath, right? So we are essentially living through a Celtic panic attack where we breathe through every game, going like, "Hope this works out," because if it doesn't, we're fucked. And that's what like having a panic attack is like. Go like, well, if I don't get through this, guess I'm fucked. I mean, and that's kind of what like most like Motherwell game is a perfect example. I was at the end going like, I'm gonna fucking freak out. Well, fuck freak out.
See, be honest, the Motherwell game was honestly perfect for what it was, and Jason knows it because my Joe, you know, my mate from Germany was over for the weekend, right? And so that was day 3 of a drink-a-thon I was on, and we're in the stadium, and you've got you've got the highs, you've got the lows, you've got the fucking this is all fucked, oh no, and you're kind of just fucking starting, and then you get that ultimate buzz at the end that salvages the day for you. Do you know what I mean? So he kind of, and then some fantastic guy helps us in for a couple of pints and stuff like that, and you get to fucking just relax and kind of laugh about it until we come to this point. But no, I see where you're going, Joe. And
there's still palpitations along the fucking way, no?
Yeah.
Even after the fact of winning, you're still at the pub going like,
yeah. Fucking. The thing is, with the money we have in comparison to the rest of the league,
guys, back to 6.
The comparison to the rest of the league and the rest of the teams, we should be doing better. Right? We know that. I think Brendan Rodgers plays his part for the things that Jason said. I also think he cast a cloud of negativity over the club during the summer. I think he could have handled that better. However, does that come back to, Joe, your initial question? The frustrations must be fucking infuriating. Do you know what I mean? There's some of our fucking support stood in front of Michael Nicholson.
Do you know what, though? Especially if he feels like he's been had.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
That's got a sting. Sitting there going like, really?
Who would have thought, right? When we the day after that Bayern Munich game, when we're all bitterly disappointed but massively enthused and proud of our team, that our CEO was patting himself on the back, kind of going, "Fuck me, we're brilliant. Look what we've done." Do you know what I mean? Okay. And it's mad to be in this situation. But I mean, like, I'm all for a league challenge from other teams. And the thing is, the Hearts challenge is great. I don't think so. We were in Edinburgh for a wee fucking afternoon on Saturday, me and the big man.
Right.
And we went and watched Borussia Dortmund, which was garbage. And then we sat and we watched the Hearts Hibs game. Now, what was interesting was we were in a mixed pub, and there was Hearts fans with their colours on, and there was Hibs fans with their colours on, and there would be the odd fucking Hibs fan belting the song out, and I thought it was kind of weird, do you know what I mean? So I ended up slinking off and talking away to a couple of Hearts fans who were sound as a pound, right? Giving them their due. But I was basically saying to them, if you really ever want a fucking challenge for the league, this is it, because we're rubbish, eh? And the boys are like, really? And I'm going, we're no a cohesive unit. Don't get me wrong, we've still got big players that can win us games. But in terms of us as a structure, we're weak. And they were like, fucking, But then I was like, I reckon you'll win 3 or 4-0 tonight. You're much better than Hibs. And then I watched the game, and Hibs blew it. Absolutely fucking blew it. And if you go and look at Hearts results, Hearts are fucking shaky wicket as well. Hearts
look at
aren't
the
a
start of
great.
the season. 3-0 down
Hearts,
Motherwell come back with fucking
Hearts,
each and stuff.
they're winning last, kick of the ball and all that. So
Yeah.
this could be a fucking who's the best of the rotten moth. I mean, fucking. But I mean, it's great that Hearts are up about it. I hope they maintain it, but ultimately, hope we fucking win. Right, talking about Edinburgh, you went to lead it half, Jabo.
Aye, fucking hell, brutal. So, to all the listeners, if you listen to the Homeboys, you'll have heard this reference to this guy a few times. If anybody that listens to it, most of the listeners would listen to Scott's Room 1-on-1. A good friend of the show, Scott, every time he does when Celtic play Hibs, he gets a big guy, Mark Strachan, on to talk about Hibs, and everybody would obviously agree he's a legend, you know. And I got a phone call from his son the other day to say a bit of bad news about my dad, and Big Mark passed away during the week. Fucking can't believe it. Honest to God. Oh, heartbreaking, man. I don't know what age Mark was, but he'd be about a few years older than me. I don't think he was 60, but if he was running about that, maybe 58 or something, I don't know. And just right out of the blue, fucking no signs or nothing. He was away watching Hibs away in Europe, goes to every single Hibs game, proper Hibs legend, massive fucking exact same political wise as all the majority of Celtic supporters. He's actually more in tune with me than a lot of Celtic supporters. And been friends with him for years through our mutual love of Everton. And every time I go to Easter Road, we always go to the Hibs Club, get a pint with him. Him and his two boys, Jamie and Sean. It was Sean that phoned us, and God love him for phoning me. Bloody hell, man, I didn't even know how to. It's one of the phone calls, you're like, I thought it was, do you know what, when he phoned me, I'm like, why the fuck is he phoning me? And I answered it, and I was like, hello, and he's like, I'm not even getting what he said, but oh my God, heartbreaking. And I was just praying that it was like, we're going to be arrange a surprise party for my dad or something like that. And then he told us, oh, fucking, where I'm standing now, in my kitchen. Big Mark was in my kitchen about 2 months ago, just coming down to collect a wee raffle prize for the St Patrick's Hibs branch 150th anniversary. And he stood there, cup of tea, me and Linda. I mean, Mark wasn't a big drinker or fuck all, just a family man, just fucking good job, fucking followed Hibs everywhere, family man. Oh, one of the nicest guys you would ever meet in your life, and he's no longer with us. So, I'll let you, Scott, but I just absolutely devastated. It's fucking hit me bad, this one. Really bad. And obviously, Scott, you'd done plenty of podcasts with Mark, and I'll put it out of you, mate.
So, the older you get, you know yourself, guys, we're Celtic fans, and your social group are Celtic fans for years. Like, you come out of school, you lose a load of mates and all that. You find a whole big group, and you're going to every game, and that's your big fucking group. I love Celtic. Who's your second team? Celtic reserves. And then Joe kindly brought me on this pod, and it's allowed me to kind of, and I'm the same as you, Jason. I like meeting people. I'm the whole Billy. I like meeting people. The whole Billy Connolly, right? And I started doing the room 1-on-1s, and I was looking for a Hibs fan. So, and I generally come to you because you've got, as well, we know a fucking big circle of friends. And you passed on Mark's number, and I sent my message, and he came on, and he's kind of straight to the point. He's a wee bit blunt, but he's cheeky, and now that way you just fall in love with somebody, man. And so straight away, and we done pods a few times, and we always had a laugh. And he always said that, remember, Scott, there's more that bonds us than divides us. And he always said that. And it got to the point that, so I'd sit and do maybe an hour and 20 minute pod with him, but I'd be sitting talking to him for 2 hours. Like, I'd be talking to him for half an hour before, half an hour after. And see when you meet just genuinely nice people, see when you get guys and you're not looking for anything off them and they're offering you things to try and help you. It's just, it's really, really nice, man. And as you said, see when you text us, man, that's fucking rubbish, man. I mean, do you remember him and his mates were all some age and they all went to Argentina?
Aye,
I remember that, and I sat and I spoke to him, and we were doing a preview pod, and I says to him, Matt, I could just sit and listen to you fucking tell us these stories, you know what I mean? And he was just, and have you ever listened to him, the stuff they done for the Ukrainians in Edinburgh, and the things, and then how proud he was of his boys and his family, and he went to see his team every fucking week, and the way you spoke about him, Jason, and the way he spoke about you, and then that day out we had, I mean, Joe, you've obviously spoke to him, but
Marty's met him. But
remember that day out we had, and it was just fucking madness, and it was just sitting in his company, and he was enjoying our company, and we were enjoying, and he's a Hibs man, and we're Celtic men, and it was way beyond that. It was way beyond fucking Celtic and Hibs. It was just decent cunts all sitting together, enjoying each other's company. And well, the world's a fucking lesser place. And I'm gutted for him. I'm gutted for you, Jason. I'm absolutely devastated for his 2 boys. I'm devastated for his wife. I'm devastated for his friends. Aye, it's very, very sad, mate. Very sad. And I'm very proud to have known him.
Aye. Definitely. Oh, he's left his mark on this earth, I'll tell you that. You know, and like, I'm obviously no friends with a lot of his friends on Facebook, so I didn't really see much. And his son said to me, we've no part on social media when he phoned me. But he knows that I'm friends with a load of his friends in Liverpool. So I contacted all them and told them, and they couldn't believe it. And I just fucking devastated, man. Devastated. What a guy, man. Just a fucking legend. And every Hibs game, my mates for Liverpool would come up. We'd always get the tickets for the main stand. If we were toiling for tickets, I would give Ellie my tickets in the Celtic end, and Matt would get me a couple for the main stand, and I would just always go and just sit there and shut my mouth, apart from when fucking Mick McGuinness was with me, and we're 3-0 up, I had to drag him out the stand. But aye, absolutely devastated, and and I'm 53 now, right? And see the amount of things that happen nowadays with folk that you know and that, and you get messages, and it's fucking hell, it's scary now when you get to this bit of your life, you know. And God Almighty, and it's like fucking just a big family. He wasn't even a big drinker or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, fucking, he just enjoyed his life. Holidays with his wife. They always went to the Far East, and holidays all around Spain. They would always post all the photos up. Me and him would always talk about the shite we would eat. Everywhere we would go, see any local food, we would both eat it. Do you know what I mean? We would send each other photos. He's like, fucking magic. No, any old shite that the locals were eating, we would fucking duck into it. And fucking hell, I'm devastated, man. Devastated. Rest in peace, big man. Fucking.
What's beautiful is the 2 of you have just spoken about him for the past, 10, 12 minutes, and it's been nothing but like the 2 is just admiring your friendship with the guy and your connection to the guy. That speaks a lot to anybody's personality, anybody's character. To have 2 guys like you, who I know quite well, to be in awe of a guy who I only heard in the podcast like a number of times with Scott, who always came across brilliantly. And obviously I'm party to our, group chat where Mark's name came up multiple times. I mean, and that kind of impact on people's lives, especially guys like you two. Not for nothing. I mean, tragic, awful, and I really do feel for everybody that's lost this guy. I suppose the overall Hibs community is probably reeling.
Oh, he'd have been one of the main Hibs fans in the world. He never missed a game, and he was organising the. I mean, he was sending me like, "Can you get me a rebel band for the St Patrick's do?" But we don't want hardcore rebels and all that. I'm like, what? The guy's having a dance.
Softcore rebels. Softcore rebels.
Tell them what they want. What songs would you reckon? All that? He's like, because he says, I'll listen to all the rebels, but he says some of them won't like that. And I'm like, fucking just tell the guy when they come what you want them to play. Just daft things like that. I had with him, and just fucking. I mean. And what Sean said to me, so obviously there was an autopsy and all that, but they reckon it was a heart attack. And as I say, my mantra in life is to everybody, see while the lights are on, just keep dancing, because you never know the minute. And it's fucking, life is fucking precious, and enjoy every minute of it.
Do you know what, man? See, since like last December, one a close friend of ours, husband, really good guy I was friendly with, just dropped. Since that moment, I feel like I've been surrounded by funerals on a consistent basis about every month or two.
I think Joe, just when you get to, like, you're younger than me, obviously, but see, at my age as well, see the amount of people I went to school with, you're just hearing it constantly, and it's fucking hell, man. Because obviously you've got a wide network of pals and stuff like that, so there's obviously things are going to happen, but it just seems now it's just coming, it's like a crescendo now, and you're like, fucking hell, man. That's just scary.
Do you know what? Rest in peace, Mark, because fucking, do you know what? I've always had this belief that like people like Mark, and also like you, Jason, who are kind of central to a larger social network than they probably recognize, are just made for being known by other people because they love to talk and chat with other human beings. And not everybody's like that. I mean, a lot of people are very, individualized, they're very into themselves, introvert. People like you, people like Mark, were clearly like,
I'm an acquired taste, I can assure you. There's loads of folk fucking
I know. But here's the thing: you're an unstoppable force as well. What it comes to.
I don't know about that. Me and Matt are definitely cut for the same cloth.
Aye, that's kind of what I mean. Is like, you know, loads of people from a certain. You just have that connection to people, but proper connection. I mean, Scott did podcasts with Mark, and it led to a friendship and a relationship. You're the same kind of person. I mean,
aye, but Scotland, you mate, you couldn't fucking fall in love with a guy, could you? Scott there.
Nah. It's funny,
if you're a Celtic fan, right, of fucking Irish heritage and everything that comes along with Celtic, and you're the typical 2.4 Celtic fan, right? And you meet a guy like Mark, you can't fall in love with him because he's exactly the same as us, but just supports the team in Edinburgh, where he would tell you that they were the originals. They were, and he.
Do you know? Obviously, we've all got when somebody passes away, you regret. I sent him a message a couple of weeks ago because I was in Edinburgh, and basically at first I was looking to get into the Hibs club to watch Hibs Hearts because I thought that'd have been a good experience for Big Flo. But then because we were going to see Borussia Dortmund, we were in the wrong end of town. So I was kind of just to see if he was about, maybe grab him for a few beers before he went to the game.
Uh-huh.
But his first words, "Sorry, Scotty, I don't think I can wangle you a ticket." And I was like, "Mate, I'm really not looking for a ticket off you. I'm really no, I was mere working. And he says, well, I'm trying to kind of stay off it a wee bit the new, so. And I says, that's fine, mate, and no problem at all. He says, remember we're playing you this weekend? And I says, mate, my head's got my arse in terms of one-on-one, so I'm no do it. And do you know what I was going to rip into him about? I never knew Hibs went tits up 2 years or something years after they fucking went. Do you know what I mean? Do you know that, eh? Hibs were out the game for 2 years in 1890 something. And I was fucking ready to wrap it into my first to wear the green. You would have told me, mate. I know. I had all this planned. Do you know what I mean? And my last words to him was, I'll see you next time we're on the road.
Oh man.
I'll see you when I'm up the road, big man.
Fuck. Folks, if there's a message out of this podcast, it's fucking keep on keeping on, live.
That's it.
See before we go, give us a wee update for the Tommy Gemmell statue, right?
Good.
We'll finish on a wee positive note. Well, I don't know if we're finished.
Kind of positive.
We are finishing up because we're over 2 hours now. We're trying to be sensible now.
Right. So basically, that's us now got the lease signed off. So now we own the lease to the land, which was a big thing with the council. And between the committee, it was a big thing at Bugbear, and it's Big Martin that's been dealing with all the legal side of it, whatever. We're kind of the foot soldiers that's raising the money, etc. But Martin was dealing with all that. So that's now done. But then, with our fucking span on the works, because we don't own the land, so the council still own the land, we're going to eventually buy it for them. The statue is halfway built. We've paid 2 instalments of the 60 grand, so 30 grand went to the sculptor, and Andy is well on the way having it delivered. So with the lease, so there should be shovels in the ground next week or the following week, getting the groundwork ready for it. But then obviously, because the council own the land, we need to take there. I do believe that's the case. If any legal experts are on, they're going to call me out on this, I'm not entirely sure, but we've been hit with a bill for 34 grand for the plinth and the groundworks. So that's kind of put us back. So we've got a bongos bingo, and we're going to have a race night before Christmas because we're 10 grand short. So we'd raised like 60 grand for the statue. We hadn't factored in VAT. We had to pay VAT. So at the end of the day, we're all just amateurs. We're just guys, a committee that's got together to pull this together. All the things that's been hitting us, we weren't ready for it. We didn't know. And I always remember Will Markey for Bells Hill, who was in the Bill McNeill statue, the day that Bill McNeill got unveiled in Bells Hill. I was there, and I shook his hand, and he turned around and said to me, Jason, don't ever get involved in anything like this in your life. And I knew I understand what he's talking about. But I would still do it again. But fucking hell, it's been fucking torture. So,
what an achievement, though.
Aye, but the thing is, so we're a registered charity, and the Tommy Gemmell community project will be going far longer than the statue. After the statue's up, that's when the real work will start. That's when we'll start providing for the local community. We will raise money. But see, by then, we'll have a year's audited accounts, and we'll get grants for the government, etc. So that'll make it easier. Obviously, we'll still be running fundraisers, and we'll be doing whatever we can. But then things become easier. Up until this point, everything by us has been funded by donations. And these donations haven't all been Celtic supporters, by the way. And I'll give you a wee insight. Mary Gemmell, Tommy's wife, had a load of numbers, and she phoned them all up. And do you know what one of them was? Chris Boyd. And they had a golf day, right? And I was away in holiday when the golf day was on. And he couldn't make it, so he phoned her back to say he couldn't make it. He says, but I'll send you some stuff. And she got this, she'd phoned a few Ranger supporters clubs and stuff like that for donations. And she thought one of them, it was some businessman that was a blue nose. So she phoned them back and say, thanks very much for that. And he's like, I didn't send you that. And she's like, all right. And she looked back and she's like, who could that have been? Then she thought, it was Chris Boyd sent her all this stuff. And he says, make sure next year when you've got the golf day, I'll be playing it. There you go. Well, Chris Boyd. Just shows you, but
Here, why'd you not call him?
Aye, I tell you what, he's the mate at Maiden Celtic Football Club have. There you go. So
Fair play to him. Fair play to him. You know,
Aye.
I actually like Chris Boyd.
aye, so there you go. But
This point should have a present on here, anyone.
there you go. But anyway,
But fuck Kenny Miller for a start.
aye,
Anyway, I was going to say Kenny Miller never gave
aye,
me fuck.
he's gave us fuck all. I've no asked him for it. I've no asked him for it. In fairness,
Doesn't matter.
That
Fuck
should
him.
be a shout. But so the thing is, we're now. I think we're about 12 grand short because we've got lawyers' fees and all that to come up, solicitors' fees, all of this. See things you don't foresee when you're doing all this, right? So I think we've got about 12 grand still to get. So we've got a bongos bingo in Hamilton. So if any of our local area, any of your wives or missus are there, Anne Francis Murray's running it, Rocco Vata's mum, she's in the committee, and she's running it in Hamilton. It's in November sometime, so Ellie's got a table, London, the pals are all going to be going. And then we're going to run a race night in the Cambus Nethen Miners Club. We couldn't get the Parochial Club in Craignuke where we had the first race night. That was our first fundraiser, and we wanted to have it there, but the dates didn't work out. So we're having it still local in the Cambus Nethen Miners Club. We're having a race night. So if anybody's local again, get in touch and get yourself a table book, support our club or whatever.
When actual work begin on the actual groundworks?
What's that, Joe?
When does the groundwork begin? The actual work?
Begin now because we've got the lease now. We couldn't start until we owned the land. So we don't own it, but we've leased it. So we own it effectively. So
Right.
we start it.
Sweet.
Yeah. So we'll be looking at. We were hoping it'd be October, November, but we're now looking, and obviously with winter coming in, things can be put back, etc. But we're definitely looking at the start of the year for the statue getting unveiled in Craigwood.
Here, how good's that feel, by the way?
Aye, it's amazing.
How
but-
good's that feel?
Aye, unbelievable. And by the way, it's going to be, and nobody blow one trumpet, but it's going to be the best statue of the lot of them. Telling you, this is going to be an absolute fucking winder. This guy,
And
this
a brand new part of the walking tour.
But see, anybody can Google him. The guy's name's Andy Edwards. He's a sculptor, right? Google him and see his previous work. Guy's name's Andy Edwards. It's fucking unbelievable, by the way. Mary's picked the image. So Mary's in the committee as well, and she's been unbelievable, you know. So the guy Andy Edwards, the sculptor, he's for Stoke Trent. He's
Jesus, this guy's a genius. Ooh, look at the stuff right now. Unbelievable. Done one of the Beatles. One of the Beatles he has.
Yep.
Holy sweet fuck.
Yeah, he's the man. And I'll tell you another thing. This guy, Big Martin started this himself, right? I've said this on the pod before.
He did the Alex Fergus statue outside Old Trafford.
Right?
Alex Ferguson.
Big Martin started this himself, right? And he basically had a brick wall, and then COVID came. And I was sitting half pissed with my goo outside the commercial one summer's day during COVID. You know, when you could outside, you could sit and get a pint. And I was like, I'm going to phone Martin and see what's happening about that. So I phoned him, and he was in San Francisco because his uncle Richard was the chairman of the San Francisco CSC, and he was earlier. I says, all right, Martin. I says, what's happening with the Tommy Gemmell statue? He says, Jason, to be honest with you, no much, mate. He says, I was trying to get it off the ground, and he says, everything's still in place, but he says, it's kind of hit a brick wall, and obviously with COVID, etc. So I'm like, right, I'll help you. And I'm not claiming anything, by the way. Martin's the guy that did it all. But I says, I'll help you. Let's get a committee together. And we got a committee together, all folk for Craignuke. And obviously, and then there was Mary getting involved in Nikki. She's Mary's pal, felt that way. Nikki's been brilliant. So we got a committee together, and then we all started just putting our ideas together. How could we raise money, etc. Blah blah. And Martin kept on because he obviously made the initial contact with the council. His initial plot that we tried to get it in Craignewt was put back, and then we got a new plot. The new plot's actually, I think, going to be better where it is. It's more accessible for people, etc. And anybody knows Craignewt, it's just up for the chapel across from the community centre where the old man's hut used to be. And so then it was all systems go. But the hurdles that we've had to come over since then has been fucking wild. But we're sticking with it and we're nearly there. And then it's going to be a lasting legacy to Tommy and for the community. And we've invited everybody in the community to get involved. And as I say, it's not just Celtic supporters that's pitting in this. This is a thing. This is a local hero who was a Motherwell supporter, by the way. Tommy Gem was a Motherwell fan. So, aye, obviously became a Celtic fan. But aye, it's amazing and very, very proud to be involved in it. But it's been a lot of blood, sweat and tears. But if anybody that's listening wants to chip a few quid in, just contact the Homeboys and we'll get the money sent across. But as I say, we're about 12 grand short. We'll get there, but and if it comes to it and the money needs to, because we're at the stage now that the statute is going to be going up, so these bills need to be paid. So if it comes to it, all the committee members we'll chip in whatever we need to chip in, take loans or whatever, and then pay it back and do fundraisers after the event. But nothing will stop us now, and that's it. It's nearly done. So that's a good wee update and a good wee way to finish on a positive after the horrendous news about Mark.
There's no better way to end this podcast, lads. Fairness. That was good. Enjoy that. A lot said, a lot covered. And
Celtic are still shy.
Hell of a club. God bless the fans, Jason. God bless.
That's it.
God bless the people on the ground with the fucking feet in the stands.
Do you know think as well? Over the past few weeks, a big love of my life athletic club. Do you think they stood out above every other club in Europe of what they done last week? The game against Mallorca. Did you see it, Joe?
Was it the Palestine thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
Unbelievable.
Amazing.
Unbelievable.
I know the news is alive with the first phase of the ceasefire and peace deal. Call me skeptical if you want.
I'm with you.
The fuck, God?
Oh, that's terrible. I was laughing at something.
But you know what? Like, are we not in the funny zone now, Jason, in terms of fucking society and the way we're living? We're in the funny zone. We're in the fucking. What could possibly even be more fucked up next?
Right. Wait a wee second. There's a guy on the chat saying, "Where's the GoFundMe, Kevin Gallagher, for the Tommy Gemmell?" So I'll, Joe, let me send you. I don't know how to post on that.
Send to me.
I'll send you the link to the Tommy Gemmell page, and you can just do a donation there, Kevin. That'd be much appreciated, mate. Anything at all, live or whatever. Give it a wee second. Okay. I'll send this to the group chat, Joe, and you can post it on the chat if you can, mate. Oh no, that's the wrong one. That's Bongos Bingo.
This is phenomenal. It's phenomenal radio, folks. It's high ball radio show shit.
Because if we hang, mate, does it finish?
What just sent me? Hold on. Scott, come on. Fill the air. Christmas bingo. Yeah.
Wrap it up, the fuck. Wrap it up, the
Right, Joe, that's that sent to you. Sent on the Homeboys, yeah. But don't do the first one. Second one.
Yeah.
Stick that on the chat there. That's perfect. Thanks very much, Kevin.
Sweet. Right. So we're all good there.
So it's, and we never even spoke about the Jocks last night. Fucking hell. How did they win that game? Or how did we win that game? I'm Scottish. Did you watch it, Scott?
I did, mate. I did. I had it on. I was doing a bit of work and I had it on in the background. And the first half was garbage. I mean, Greece looked fucking
how good did they look? They're going to get bombed out.
Outstanding. And you're sitting. Do you know, I was sitting thinking this morning, when have we been that fucking dominant in a game and lost it like that? I mean, obviously the Hun games, it can happen. I mean, you can remember in the 90s where we seemed to steamroller them and then fucking Alan McCoy scored or Peter Hooster scored, something like that. Do you know what I mean? But I'm trying to think.
No, I've never seen a mere one-sided game.
No,
lost in my life.
You were just waiting for the goal to come and then Greece scored and then Scotland scored out in area, which looked offside and all. Do you know what I mean?
And by the way, see even after, like, see a four Greece
you see
scored.
The lines?
See a four Greece scored. It was like, you looked at John McGinn, Lewis Ferguson, you're like, these guys can't even play football. It was like, what the fuck? They were just camped in their own box and they couldn't get out. Greece were defending on the halfway line. It was like a fucking rout. How did that happen? Fucking Greece.
Good luck to them. Like I say, I always want Scotland to win. Always, know what I mean? But don't really care if they lose. Anyway, right, let's get to fuck.
Let's get it to fuck that.
Wrap this up to fuck.
Okay, let's go. Boys, that was good fun. I enjoyed that. Right, we solved nothing. We addressed everything. We're like Celtic in many ways.
If you're still listening to this, you're fucking moron.
That's what I said. We let the fucking Celtic board.
Aye, tell her to shite to fuck all. Hello, folks.
Joe, that's my position on the fucking collective.
You're doing yourself a big disservice.
That's the word in general.
I'm hearing different. I'm hearing different.
Nah, my natural. What do I keep saying? I'm there for the cool vibes. How's it going? Cool guys.
You have to be the cool vibe, Scott. That's your mission.
That's my mission, mate.
Yeah.
Well done, guys.
Talk to you soon. Good luck.
God bless. Hail, hail.
Fuck that.